and we will have another presentation this time. Virtual. It will be with a lot of tips, I suppose, Sophie, about the communication of home university students and foreign students, which is the topic which appeared yesterday, for example, several times. So, Sophie, you can start.
Brilliant. Thank you very much. So yeah, good morning for you. Good evening to anyone who's based in Asia too. So thank you for attending this talk on how to contextualize dialogues between home and international students in order to improve their interlanguage, but also academic skills. So please let me start with a brief outline of the presentation. First, I'll give you a bit of context, the university where I'm working at. The problem that has been mentioned, I guess, quite a few times yesterday as well, and that we have here too. What we set up as a solution, the cultural workshops. I'm going to talk a little bit about the limitations of those cultural workshops and how we can improve them, and I will welcome your suggestions to improve such workshops. So first of all, the university where I'm working is called APU, Asia Pacific University. We are based in Kyushu, Japan, and it is an international university. What I mean by that is that we have a dual curricula. So we have lessons in English, and we have one curriculum in English and the exact same curriculum in Japanese. So it means that each content class is available in English and Japanese. So Introduction to Marketing, Tourism and Sustainability are classes that students can take either in English or in Japanese. We have a population of half home students, half Japanese students, and half international students. I'll talk a little bit later on about this, but most of our students come from the Asia Pacific region, obviously. We run parallel admissions to the university because in Japan, the school year starts in April. In some other countries, but in most countries, school year starts in fall. So we usually start, like, for example, in Europe, we start in October or late September. So obviously, domestic students and international students don't have the exact same requirements for to enroll, but also they have this time discrepancy. All our international students are required to speak English at a B2 level in order to take on, in order to study at APU. Our courses are completely modular. What I mean by that, students are free to choose almost any class they want to take. So it means that we don't really have clear majors. Students are free to take different classes and in different languages, provided that they have the right level. On top of the content classes, all students have compulsory language courses. So if you're a domestic student, you will have to take English lessons. If you are international students, you will have to take Japanese lessons. International students are not required to speak any Japanese when they arrive, which is one of the reasons why they have compulsory courses. On top of those compulsory language courses, students have to take at least 2 lessons in the other language. What I mean by that is that if you are a Japanese student, you can take as many classes as you want almost in Japanese, but in order to graduate, you have to take and pass at least 2 classes that are in English. And vice versa, if you're an international student, you must take and pass at least 2 courses that are in Japanese in order to graduate. So they need to pass their compulsory language courses to graduate, and they also need to pass 2 courses minimum in the other language in order to graduate. So you would think with that, that would be enough for them to communicate with each other and get to know each other, but actually, no. So to talk a little bit more about our international students, so the cohort is vastly from Asia, Asia Pacific region. The country that is the most represented at APU is South Korea, closely followed by Indonesia and China. These students are not native speakers of English, but they are fluent. It is part of their requirement to enter the school. And most of them also are on scholarships. So they're really usually brilliant and very motivated students. The domestic cohort is slightly different. They are typical Japanese students that come from a general high school. We do have a few students that come from technical high schools. We have very few local students, so we're located in the countryside. So there are not so many young people, to be honest with you. So we have quite few local students. But something that's in common with all our students, all our domestic students, they are all willing to improve their English. And most of them want international careers after they graduate. Maybe I shouldn't say that, but out of honesty, we are usually a second choice. Some students would rather go to like Tokyo University or something really top of the list. But we're the second choice. We're not the third one. We're quite pleased with that. So we actually we recruit all kinds of students in the domestic cohort. So that's very interesting. So as I mentioned before, the biggest issue is that even though we set everything up so that domestic students and international students would communicate and have meaningful interaction, it's not happening. It's not happening naturally. Why? Well, when they arrive, students tend to stay with their L1 peers. And also on top of that, they don't arrive at the same time. You are a Japanese student, you're completely fresh. It's April. Who are you going to talk to? People who speak the same language as you and people who arrived at the same time as you. Likewise, when you are an international student and you come from one of the largest groups that I've mentioned, like Korea or China, what will you do? You will hang out with your L1 peers and who are living through the same thing, and you can express exactly what you are feeling. So that's quite natural. Another difference between our domestic and international students is part-time jobs. Domestic students have part-time jobs and it does take a lot of time. So they don't really have that much time to hang out with their friends. Timetabling is extremely complex because of the modularity of the curriculum. And students in Japan have extremely busy schedule. It's like high school. They have about 30 hours of instruction every week. So if the timetable is complex and then on top of that, you don't have much time, it's really difficult to create a space for them to communicate and get to know each other organically. So what did we come up with? We came up with multicultural workshops. It is a course that is compulsory for all freshmen. It takes place on Wednesdays because nothing else is timetable at that time. And the structure is usually the same. So we start with a lecture for about 90 minutes. And then students are divided into classrooms of about 35 students. And then within those classrooms, they are divided by 3 to 4. They are divided in groups of 3 to 4. They will they will talk about some cultural topic. It can be anything. It can be popular culture. It can be traditional culture. And usually these multicultural workshops, like the workshop part of the workshop, is led by third and fourth year students who are either peer leaders or sort of TAs, sort of teaching assistants. I'd like to show you a very brief video so that you can see what they do, and it will make more sense, I guess, than me explaining. I think it will be much better like this. Oh, sorry, I need to fast forward a bit. Okay.
We will have ice-breaking game, the main activity, discussion time, the main activity, and discussion.
Sorry, Sophie, we can't see the video. Yeah, Sophie, probably you will have to get out of the PowerPoint slides so that we can see the video.
Okay. Sorry. Okay.
This is your chance to seek out your own destiny.
Is it better now?
Well, I think oh yeah, now we can see the video, but we'll see whether we can hear the sound properly.
Okay, let's see.
Let's see because it causes troubles. Yeah.
We will have ice-breaking game, the main activity, discussion time, the main activity, and discussion.
Okay, so you have here the peer leaders explaining that they will have first an icebreaker, main activity, discussion, and then presentation.
It's like to see what others are doing.
Communication.
That works. And we had good leadership, and our teamwork was pretty great because we felt like we were making, in the time.
その強みだったり弱みっていうものをしっかりと認めてお互いに
what job what role should be applied to who? Yeah. Thank you.
Okay, so let me go back to my PowerPoint. Oh, no, first I should turn this off. Okay, right. Okay. So as you can see, it's a lot of fun. Oops, fine. Okay. Return to resume session. Okay. So this is a typical first session of the multicultural workshop. It starts with an icebreaker, so that students can get to know each other. As you could see, something I didn't mention before, the groups are half domestic students and the other half are international students. So we start with an icebreaker, then there's some discussion, then the main game, what they call the main activity. And we always end with a reflection on what we've done, how we communicated with each other, how we can improve next time. And this reflection discussion is usually summarized in a short presentation, as you could see with the little posters. So that's what we do. And it has a lot of advantages. As you could see, students had a lot of fun. They communicated, they laughed. It's also an easy A, it's a compulsory class. And on top of that, it's graded. So they really enjoyed that. And finally, what my Japanese students told me is that, yes, we got to meet international students. What they don't like about the cultural workshops is that actually students are not really keen on group work, generally speaking. Dynamics are hard to manage for them. Also, it's very time consuming. So the first sessions are not, because it's just you come and get to know each other and play. But when you have to prepare your final presentation, then you need to meet, discuss your topic, prepare your slides together. And they are supposed to log every time they meet, and they're supposed to meet every week. And when they give their presentation, they also have to submit their log of their meetings. Another issue that has been raised by students, and I kind of agree with that, is that it's not related to their studies. It's lovely to play with their classmates, but they feel like they're wasting their time. And I'll get back to that in a minute. So to summarize the positive aspects of multicultural workshops, it's excellent prep for their group work that they're going to have at university. They will do a lot of group work for their content classes. And also for their future careers. Most of us work in teams, so we need to get used to working in teams. It's very good for communication and negotiation. It's very good practice, like who's going to talk, who's is writing. It's really good for that too. And because our international students are quite mixed, actually, it raises cultural awareness. And it also helps students not to think of Asia as just one, but understand like the differences between countries. Our students, just one little anecdote, our students are some of the few people who understand what the word halal means in the whole of Japan, because we have a lot of students from Indonesia, for example, or India. So these are little things that make them really, you can tell that they are more culturally aware than the average population here. Right, so this is all very good, but the decontextualization, the fact that it's just, playing together, I think is the biggest limitation of this cultural workshop. It's quite artificial. And there's no academic focus. So for the students who are really interested in their grades or in their topic, it feels like a waste of time. So they're not really motivated towards the end of the semester. The groups are also, because of the modularity of the curricula, the groups are random. And because of that, they are very unlikely to meet each other again. They are not going to take classes together again. So it feels it's a good first step, I believe, but it's not, it needs to be more contextualized. So I don't know how much time left, but I think I'm getting close to the end of my presentation.
3 minutes.
Yeah, 3 minutes. Okay. So I'm skipping the theoretical background, if you don't mind. If you have any questions about it, please please ask questions. But what I really want to do now is answer the question I asked in my title. How do we contextualize multicultural workshops? Well, first of all, we need to know what kind of university we are, and what's the purpose of English lessons. Is it English for academic purposes? If that's EAP, in that case, I suggest that we group students per major and give them an academic task, so that they feel, soft skills are a hard sell. So if you give students, if you just tell them, oh, we're going to improve your communication skills, they don't see it improve fast enough. Whereas if they are given a task and they do it as like, oh, okay, yes, I did it. I finished my research essay, or I gave a poster presentation. So I strongly believe an academic task would be, in our case, extremely useful and meaningful for the students. Other universities, because they don't have this requirement of writing essays or taking assessment in English, then maybe what they should look into is business English, what ESP generally speaking, but maybe business English in particular. And in that case, we could group students per career aspirations, or still we can group them by major or by interest. And we could role play some situations. There are many business English textbooks that give, how to deal with a difficult customer, how to deal with a meeting with somebody who's really overwhelming, coming from different cultures. So I think we can make it more relevant to the students, keeping that format of, ice-breaking, a little bit of conversation, then having a main task, and then and also reflecting upon that task, and finishing with I think presentation, because it summarizes everything, and I think that's really helpful for students.
Yes, Sophie, the last minute, or if that's so the last minute of the presentation, yeah.
Okay, so I think okay, so if I have no, I think I'm going to leave it there. That makes more sense.
Yeah.
So please, if you have, that's 1 more minute for questions. So please feel free to ask.
Thank you very much for your nice description of the journey that you are still. I've seen it as a journey that you started, and you have a clear aim. Yeah. So any questions? Questions online? No questions. So what about our audience here?
Well, that's an interesting. Thank you very much for the presentation, and it's quite efficient because students are there, so that why not to utilize the opportunity. Have you ever thought about establishing a kind of clubs? I mean that this seems to be organized, but having the opportunity for the students, if they want to join and maybe identify particular topics to be discussed with whoever wants to.
Yes, sorry, that's a very good point. Thank you very much. Club activity is very much ingrained in the Japanese school life. So many students join a club after class. Those clubs are like sports club or culture-based club. At APU, we also have like country-based clubs. And what we have noticed is that in those clubs, students tend to be with their L1 peers.
I see.
So we would need to, this is something that is student-led, so we don't want to intervene too much into this, but they naturally go back to, where they feel comfortable.
Well, actually, that's true about adults, really adults and business people, that they stick together, in their free time.
Yes.
But still, maybe having the topics to be discussed and identify some of the groups that could contribute to the discussion might be the idea.
Yeah.
If I may ask, probably I missed it. How long have you been doing this course?
So personally, only 2 years. Yeah, only 2 years, but it's but it's been running for longer than that. It's been running for how long? The school is 20 years old. It's still fairly new. And it's been running, I think, since the 2011 curriculum, I guess. So since 2011, I believe.
Yeah, because I believe that the focus on academic task or professional task, that it would certainly help. I think that it's a good step, and now we will need some more years to try and see how that works. Yeah.
Good point. Thank you very much.
Okay, any other questions? Yeah, about having a break. Okay, Sophie, thank you very much. It's been really interesting to describe, and I think that there are universities facing similar problem or wanting to help students in a similar way. So this may be a way, a good inspiration. So thank you.
Thank you very much. Yeah, the take-home message is really make it compulsory because.
Okay. We have a question online.
Yes, thank you. This is Merja Karppinen from Finland.
Okay, yes.
I just wanted to comment that, in Finland we have similar challenge with students. Oh, I can put the video also on. we have similar challenge with the students in that to get the foreign students and Finnish students mix, you know.
Yeah.
And but I think that one way to solve it, and what we have done in, for example, at the Aalto University, is that when we teach a subject course like cross-cultural management, then we make, you know, we kind of require them to form groups that are maximum diversity. And then actually then it doesn't matter what they do together, because they learn these cross-cultural skills and cross-cultural communication by doing it. So in that sense, it was discussed earlier also that, you know, it's good to integrate it with some subject matter, and then it's kind of natural to mix in this group.
That's very interesting. So do you make it part of the assessment criteria, or is it just a requirement? Yes. They have to do it?
Yeah, it's required, but actually, because, you know, well, in cross-cultural management, because that's actually the skill they need to be managers, you know, in this kind of context. So, of course, working as a team is part of the evaluation.
Brilliant.
No?
Okay. That sounds very interesting. I might ask for your email at some point to ask more about it. Thank you very much.
Okay, yeah, please do. Yeah.
Okay, so if no more comments or questions, then thank you, Sophie, and see you online later.
See you. Thank you very much.